Hi everyone, hello. I'm going to just see how I can share this to my other groups whilst I'm waiting for you to log on, guys. So share it there and share it there, and hopefully people can see it from there now. Well, where are we? Nope. There we go. Lovely. Hi everybody, lovely to see you. Hiya, hi. Nice to see you this evening. Oh my god, we've got Carol tonight. Hi Carol, lovely to see you. And Susie, hi Susie. Okay guys, as usual, can you pop me a hashtag live if you're watching live, a hashtag replay if you're watching on replay, and if you're a newbie, really, I love a hashtag newbie so that I can say hello to you. Quick intro as normal. My name is Amanda Jane Duggan. I am a bariatric success coach and an eating psychology coach. I'm also a successful weight loss surgery patient myself, having lost over 10 stone after a gastric sleeve in May 2013 and kept the majority of it off for that time. As part of my journey, I did my training in eating disorder therapist, looking into eating psychology, everything about emotional eating, and I now support people who've had or having bariatric surgery in the whole process. So great to be here this evening. So really pleased. It's a couple of weeks since I did the last one of these. And quite a lot's been going on. I've had to move house because my builders came in and they gave me 4 days notice. I am up in my adopted mum's house in Harrogate, so I've had a complete change of environment. And some exciting news, my bariatric success solution is now tomorrow going live. So you will hear miles more about that. So that's my support package that I've been working on for probably 4 years. So I'm really excited and a bit nervous. So lovely to see you all tonight. So Bariatric Mindset TV episode 16. This evening I'm going to be talking about how we do everything is how anything is how we do everything. So what do I mean by that? So what I mean is, if we're trying to lose weight, for example, our behaviours in everyday life and the way that we handle things are really a reflection of our relationship with food and how we handle our weight loss. So quite often people will think, it's all about what I eat, the diet, what I should be eating, how many calories, macros, etc. And if I could just stick to a diet, all would be fine. But our behaviours and our lifestyle set us up for success or failure in varying degrees. So what I wanted to talk to you tonight are about 3 behaviours that I see really often in people that are bariatric patients. So that means that most people that are bariatric patient are morbidly obese and are desperate because they've got to the end of the road. It's a fairly big thing to go for bariatric surgery. So, and I think that when we look at these behaviours, we can see how these behaviours in our everyday life have actually affected our weight loss journey as well. And the 3 behaviours that I wanted to look at was, number 1, all or nothing thinking. Number 2, fear of commitment. And number 3, instant versus delayed gratification. And these 3 behaviours, I think, can make the difference between your journey being easier or more difficult. And the one thing we all need to understand is that it's possible to change these behaviours if we are prepared to put the effort and the work in. Nothing's set in stone. We create our own reality. We create our own reality by what we concentrate on. I'm a really big believer in saying where concentration goes, energy flows. So what we concentrate on is what we will actually make happen. If, for example, you are surrounded by positive people, you are likely to be more positive yourself. If you are more positive, you are more likely to attract more positive people, and therefore it perpetuates and you become more positive. So the first behaviour that I just see all the time, and I mean, I'm going to use examples of my own, because these three things really, really were me, and still can be, you know. I have to work on this stuff, but 100% all or nothing person. I'm either on it or I'm off it. If you can relate to that, please let me know in the section so that other people and myself, I know I'm not alone, because I do believe that most of us have these behaviour traits. So I'd love to know if you can relate to it. So it's like, I don't have any balance in anything that I do. I'm like so excited for the next thing, and I'm like in there and I know everything about it and I research everything about it and I'm telling the whole world, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's going to be amazing. And then I start it with absolute gusto, and then like a few weeks or even a few days or a few months or whatever into it, it like loses its shiny, because I'm a shiny girl, and it starts to get a bit difficult and it's not quite as attractive as it was, because it might mean that there's a bit of hard work involved or a bit of commitment, willpower, and then it goes and I'm off it. That's it. End of. You know, so things like work, for example, with work, I am either overworking, so I never stop. I don't even stop thinking about when I go to bed. My husband will say to me at midnight, why are you still on the bloody computer? Or I then burn out and then I just go into nothing. I can't do anything. I can't be bothered to even answer the phone. I'm like, oh, I just don't want to. And it's not that I don't enjoy my work, because I love it, but it's that I've got no balance. Or I didn't have any balance. So I get into burnout and then I hit the F it button and everything goes. I'm sure you can relate to that, guys, you know. It's like, and the same with diets, or with, should I say, nutrition plans or self-care. You know, I am either on a massive diet and I'm not eating this and this, or I'm eating this amount of calories, you know. And then I go over it a little bit and I can't forgive myself, because there's no self-forgiveness. And that's it. It's like, bang, the F it button, hit it, and it's gone. And I'm off it. And the problem is, when I'm talking about dieting or nutritional plans, I prefer to say, what I tend to do then is in the past, I don't do it now, but I would eat everything in sight. And I would probably, more in the time that I was off it. So say, for example, on a Monday morning, I'd set off all hell guns blazing. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to eat chocolate. I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to eat that. And it's usually I'm not going to, rather than I am going to as well, which is a very negative way of thinking about things. And then by Thursday, probably, I just couldn't sustain it any longer, because I'd given myself such a huge task to do. And then Thursday night, probably, and then Friday, all bets are off. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'd eat everything in sight, far more than I would have done if I'd not committed to the eating plan on the Monday morning. And before I know it, I've eaten more than I would have done in the whole week if I'd have just carried on normally. Because also for me, you know, if I say something's forbidden, I want it even more. I've always been like that. If Mum didn't like a boyfriend, she told me she didn't like him, he was miles more attractive. You know, it's just, that is my personality. It's my way. So I didn't have any balance, and I'm a perfectionist. God, am I a perfectionist? I've got to get it absolutely right. And if I don't get it absolutely right, then I'm not doing it at all. And really, you know what, it boils down to like a fear of failure. And I'll give you an example. You know, when I used to work for I'm not going to use the name, but I used to work for a very well-known educational software company as a sales rep, and I would go round to local authorities and schools, and I would be there having chats with people, having a great time, and then selling them this software. And I don't know why, but I think as long as I can believe in something, I'm quite good at sales. I don't find it difficult. I just feel like it's just having a chat and actually, you know, giving somebody something that they need to solve their problem. But I was quite good at it, and I used to get really good results, but I had to be the best. I had to be top of the tree. And it was just unsustainable. I was working till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And then, of course, burnout. And I ended up almost having a nervous breakdown, and then I ended up being off work for 6 months. There was just no balance. You know, it was never mediocrity, it was never just above average, was never good enough for me. And that's something that I really had to learn, and it really does affect my weight loss if I get into that all or nothing thinking. So mediocrity, I'm going to give you some tips of how you can help yourself with these later. The second behaviour, how we do anything, is how we do everything, is and see this all the time, is this fear of commitment, fear of actually committing to something. Now that doesn't mean going gung-ho and all plans on the latest fad diet, what have you. That means actually committing to doing something consistently over a period of time. So planning and preparation, journaling, tracking food, anything that I had to commit to, put down on paper. It was like I was signing my life away. You know, I was actually signing a contract. I can't say I'm going to do this on that date, because what if something better comes along? Because I'm a shiny girl. I want the best thing. So fear of commitment. I hate planning things. I don't like to plan. I don't like consistency. I love spontaneity. And, you know, really that was me to say that I wanted to change the plans at the last minute if it wasn't suiting me, or I didn't feel I could commit to it, or I didn't feel it was, you know, what I really wanted to do at the time. And that fear of commitment, because I would give myself such big commitments to actually commit to, rather than just saying I can do a little bit. A little bit's enough. And really it was always down to fear of failure. Fear of not delivering. So if I don't commit to it, I can't not deliver, and therefore you can't have a go at me. You can't say I'm wrong, or you can't criticise. Fear of criticism. Okay, and the third one is probably the biggest one. I think that majority of us in this group of people that I work with are real instant gratification people. So what do I mean by that? So you may have heard of instant or delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is where we are prepared to wait for something and be disciplined about it rather than have it immediately. So that the discipline of waiting for it will give us a better outcome than the having it now. And there was an experiment that was done. You may have heard of this. You may have heard of this experiment called the marshmallow experiment, where 4 and 5-year-old children were taken on their own into a room, and there was a marshmallow put on the table in front of them. This wouldn't work for me because I can't stand marshmallows. But if it had been like a Jaffa cake, it would have been a whole different ball game. But marshmallow was put in front of them, and they were told by the researcher that they were going to go out the room, and if when they came back the marshmallow was still there, they would be able to have a second marshmallow. And the researcher left the room, and they were watching them through the cameras, and some of them just couldn't wait at all. Some of them wriggled on their chair a bit and moved around and kept looking at the marshmallow, looking at the door, looking at the marshmallow, looking at the door. And they just said, oh, sod it, he's not coming back. And then they just ate the marshmallow. And then others did just sit there patiently, quietly, and waited their period of time. So the behaviour itself is not, or the experiment itself is really not like what's really important. What was really important is when they tracked them for over 40-year period later, they found that these children, the ones that were prepared to delay the gratification for the better reward, were far more successful in many, many parts of their lives. They had better SATs results. They had more successful jobs. They were less likely to have addictions or substance abuse. Far less likely to be obese, and have much lower levels of stress. Now, I know for one that I am terrible at delayed gratification. I avoid pain at any cost. I don't like to sit in pain. I'm what I call a wild feeler. So I feel pain quite strongly compared to, say, my husband, who doesn't seem to feel the pain in anywhere near as great intensity as I do. But I just don't like it. I don't like feeling uncomfortable, and I will do anything. So I've got a slight headache, I'm there. Ibuprofen, paracetamol, I just don't like feeling uncomfortable. And I hate delayed gratification. I'm really quite good at it these days, but in my younger years, I couldn't save for anything. I had to have it now. So it would all be on HP. Have it now, pay later. If I had a list of jobs to do, I'd always do the jobs I liked best first, and consequently the ones that I didn't like were left and they didn't get done. And it really did have an impact on my life. I was renowned at that time for not showing up, not letting people down. I mean, it's just not who I am now. But that was my natural tendency. So actually what they did find, excuse me, I've just got some few notes because I want to make sure that I tell you everything, that that they did find that a lot of this was about trust. So for the children that had a relationship in their childhood where parents promised things but didn't deliver, be that either in a good way or a bad way, like they would say, well, if you do that, you're not going to get this, but then they'd give it them. So it was like trust, or I'll give you that if you do this, and then they didn't. It was like things don't materialise when people say they will, so I've got to have it now because I'm just scared that I'm not going to get it. Parents that scoring points with each other, so parents that maybe were separated, having divorce. I know that this happened with my son, that when my husband and I separated, if he couldn't get something from me, he'd go to his dad to get it. So he knew that he didn't have to delay his gratification ever, because if I said you've got to wait, he'd run to his dad, and because his dad was trying to score points with me, he'd get it off his dad. And I probably did the same a bit, as much as I could with my finances. So he never learned that he needed to delay gratification, he had to wait for anything. And, if we're not able to wait for anything, we're trying to lose weight, we're trying to release our weight and get our relationship with food under control, this really comes apparent because, we can't feel hunger. The minute that we start to feel either a craving or a little bit of hunger or a rumble in the tumble, we're like, oh, got to eat something. I've got to do it. I can't sit and I can't wait. I can't wait for that, And that can be really detrimental, that we've just not learned to be in tune with our body. So if we go back to cavemen, we were creatures of delayed gratification. That was part of our survival instincts. That it could be 4 or 5 days that cavemen got a kill, and they would in between have berries and bits of herbs and grasses to eat. And they would get very hungry, and they were in tune with their bodies, and they were in tune with their hunger mechanisms, and they learned to feel hunger and to know it wasn't going to kill them, and to know that it would not do them any harm, and that their body had reserve stores to actually feed them, which, let's face it, all of us have got shed loads of those reserve stores. But the minute that we feel hunger, we're like, oh my God, I've got to eat. I can't possibly feel hungry. The amount of patients that say to me, but I'm still hungry. And the answer is, and? Yeah. It is normal to feel hunger. It is part of our survival instincts, but it's not normal to immediately eat the minute we start to feel slightly uncomfortable or uneasy, or we're craving something, to go and get it straight away. That is what got us obese in the first place. Or one of the reasons that got me certainly obese in the first place. If I'm feeling, I feel like a bit of chocolate, I've got to go and get it. If I'm feeling like, I've had a bit of a row with my husband or what have you, I know what'll fix that. I just never, ever learned to sit with pain very well, or discomfort. And that is a real big part of my story, has been learning to sit with uncomfortable feelings and knowing that they are only feelings, and that they're not going to hurt me, they're not going to harm me. What will harm me is the actions that I take because of those feelings. If I decide to take the actions that are not conducive to where I want to be, in wherever that might be in my life. So it's having in the forefront of my mind, is this next action actually going to be conducive to getting me where I want to be, or is it going to be against that? And asking myself that question every time. And it's about having the discipline to ask that question and to act on it, and that builds those neural pathways that want that instant gratification, and shows them that if I wait for the delayed gratification, actually that instant gratification may give me what I want instantly, but the consequences of that are far reaching in that it stops me getting where I want to be in the long run. Whereas the delayed gratification, I might feel uneasy with it for a little bit of time, but actually what that means is that in the long run I'm going to get to my goals and where I want to be much easier and with less struggle. And it's about flipping it on its head, and it's a really important thing to learn, in my opinion. So how can you change these three things? Okay, so what I always suggest is you need to start with the all or nothing thinking with something really small. Not just small, but really small. And learn to consistently do that all the time. And that can be, I don't know, I've got here drinking 1 extra glass of water a day. 5 minutes of exercise, 5 minutes of meditation, whatever it is, but consistently doing that over a period of a month. Because it's not so much about what we're doing. What it is, it's about changing that mindset that everything has to be all or nothing. It's about teaching your brain that it's not about all or nothing, that small, consistent habits are what builds success. And that is really important. So it doesn't really matter in the first instance what the small thing is, because it's not the small thing in itself that's going to make the difference to the long-term outcome. What is going to make the difference is the understanding and the psychology and the mindset around it, that you don't have to do everything to get there. That one small thing and then another small thing and another small thing, it's like the tortoise and the hare, is going to get you to your end goal far much easier and much more likely to be successful than doing that. Right, I'm not eating chocolate, I'm going to the gym every day, I'm I don't know, whatever, cutting down all carbs 20 grams a day or less, I'm going to drink 6 glasses of water. That we've all done it, we're at a list. It's like the more that's on the list, the more successful I'm going to be. And if it's not painful, it's not worth having. But yet we avoid pain at all costs, so it will get painful. And the minute it gets painful, because we're all or nothing people, we'll just fall off it, hit the effort button, and then go back to those behaviours. But what happens then is our self-esteem is eroded so much each time it happens that it's harder to start again. So that, if it's not worth it, if it doesn't hurt, it's not worth it. It's about doing the habit is much more important, and following the mindset change. Okay, the next thing is being mindful of your brain talk. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So when you decide to do something, it'll be, I'll just have a lie this morning, I'm not doing that 5 minutes, or just this once won't hurt, or you deserve to have this, whatever it might be that you've decided that you're not going to have. So say you've decided to switch a chocolate snatch for a protein snack every day, Be mindful of what your brain tells you, because they're only thoughts, they're not actions. And your thoughts can do you no harm unless you act on them. And it's the actions, it's the repeated actions and the change of actions that change the mindset that give you the right frame of mind for success. So it's listening to those negative talk, that what I call washing machine brain going on in your head saying, oh God, once will be all right. You don't have to do it today. But it's not about whether the 5 minutes of exercise is going to actually make your calf 5 centimetres smaller in a month. That's not what it is. It's about strengthening that neural pathway, that brain muscle that tells you it's possible to do something consistently, and something small is worth it. So it's listening to the negative thoughts, realising that they are only thoughts. They cannot do anything to your life. Thoughts can never, ever change your life in any way unless you act on those thoughts. And you have the ability to choose how you act. Nobody else makes us do something. You hear people say, my husband made me do. No, he didn't. You decided to do that. He may have put pressure on you, but you still decided to do that. So realising your thoughts and feelings are only that. Sitting with your feelings, observing your thoughts, but changing your actions. And those three things are so important. And that's the third one, is sitting with discomfort. So sitting with those uncomfortable feelings long enough to realise that actually they're just feelings and they will make you feel uncomfortable. They're not going to harm you. You're not going to die. You're not going to be ill with them. If you didn't eat, as long as you were drinking for days on end, most of us, when we come into surgery, have got enough fat in our bodies to cope with that. Now, yeah, you would feel hungry. Yes, you would feel uncomfortable. But I'm not suggesting by any means you don't eat for days on end. What I'm suggesting is when those feelings of hunger come in, you sit there for 20 minutes with them and you delay the gratification. So you learn to delay the reward and really ask yourself, am I really hungry here? Have I ever really experienced real hunger? Because in this day and this world, we've got such a world of plenty. We are so blessed in that we've got everything and more than we need. Very, very rarely does anybody in this world ever have to be hungry. Truly, truly hungry. So, sitting there and feeling those feelings, that's another really important one. Number 4, when we say, I'm going to give myself a treat, 9 times out of 10, that will be in the form of a highly calorific, sweet or fatty treat. And it's about rephrasing that. Is that really a treat? Is that going to treat our body, our temple, the thing that carries us around and that's, enabling us to be in this world? Because the chances are it's not actually a treat for our body at all. It may be a treat for our taste buds, and it may be a treat for our mind, but it's not actually a treat for our body. Invariably, it will make our body feel worse. It's full of toxins, sugar, fat, not good for us, and actually will make us feel sluggish, lethargic, and pretty crap. So trying to rephrase the word treat to, I'm going to give myself a treat. Okay, that's going to be, is that actually going to get me to the place that I want to be more? Is that going to treat myself? And is it actually treating my body? And that's another tip to help with this all or nothing thinking and their consistency. And this one's really, really important. So when you have decided whatever that little thing is going to be, so let's say I'm going to drink, a glass of water every morning when I get up. And for whatever reason, say you oversleep and you jump out of bed because you've got to get in the car, go to work, and you forget the glass of water and you haven't done it, and you go, oh, I've not done it today. What is your plan for getting back on track? Are you going to hit the effort button and just forget it and say, well, it's too hard? Or are you going to get back on track at any time during that day? So when you get to work, go, okay, I didn't do it this morning, but I'm going to do it now. Because you can start your day again at any time. You can start your week again right now. It doesn't have to be Monday morning. It doesn't have to be tomorrow morning. It can be at any time. So, what is your contingency plan? Are you going to have somebody you're accountable to? If you miss it for a day, are you going to have a pot where you're going to put some money in? And if you miss it for 2 days, it's twice as much. And if you miss it for 3, because I can tell you now, the statistics say that if you miss it 3 days in a run, you shop. That's when it stops. So what is your plan to get back on track before you get to day 3, preferably in day 1? And writing that down and sticking to it. And half of that is about making it really, really obtainable the first time. And then when you've done that for a month, adding something else in that may be a little bit more difficult, because that muscle in your brain is now being built, and that possibility of doing it and the good feeling that you stuck to something for 30 days, that you did it consistently, And you can do that, and then you can build on that and build on that, and then those small actions over a period of 12 months will make your commitment to doing whatever you do so much better in every part of your life, because you will have learnt that you can delay gratification. You don't have to have everything now, that you can plan, and that you don't have to be on it or off it, everything or nothing. And I can guarantee you, if you do those few things and you practice changing these behaviours, it will catapult your level of success in most things that you do, and particularly in your weight loss journey. The other thing as well is, whatever your habits that you're going to try and create are, make sure they are do's rather than don'ts. Because what we tend to do is go, I'm not going to eat chocolate. I'm not going to eat crisps. I'm not going to, whatever, eat more than 1,000 calories a day. Rather than, I am going to do 5 minutes of exercise. I'm keeping it realistic. I am going to drink a glass of water. I am going to, instead of I'm not going to eat chocolate, I am going to eat a high protein snack, replacing this chocolate, because that is a doing action word, and it's a positive thing. So it's staying in a positive mindset rather than a negative mindset. What else do I have here? So once you've done that, adding in another small thing at the end of the 30 days, and consistently, if you do that over 12 months, you've added in 12 things that are going to catapult your success. Not in the short term, because we're not here in the short term. This is not what it's about. It's not about losing weight in the short term. Bariatric surgery will do that for you. What this mindset stuff's about is making sure that we're successful in the long term. So it's changing the stuff that once that first flush of weight loss has happened, and we get to the stage where our pouch stretches out a bit, we're not as uncomfortable when we eat, and it gets easier, that we've made real inroads into changing that mindset and those behaviours that are going to stop us going back to what we did before, that got us where we were at the beginning of our journey. So, yeah, I think that's probably it for me tonight. I just wanted to share those words of wisdom with you. I hope it's been useful for you guys. Please, drop me a line. Let me know if it is, because it's quite difficult sometimes on these calls, because, it's not like interactive, so it's very difficult to know. So, throw me a few hearts, a few thumbs up, write something in the comments to let me know that you've got something out of that you can relate to it, and any questions at all, pop them in there, because I always go back the day after, tomorrow morning, and I'll answer any questions that anybody puts in there. During this week sometime, I'm going to be announcing my new Bariatric Success Solutions programme, for everybody to access. New website, whole new look and feel, complete new branding, so that you guys can have a look at that. And on that new website, all of these live streams are on there and will be added there every Thursday morning. So when people say where to go for them, you can get them on the website. You can go into the website, and there is a section called Bariatric Mindset TV, along with New Leaf Bariatric University, where our surgeons and things give you tips and tricks, and they talk about weight loss surgery. There's even a video of people of Dr. Ruby doing a gastric sleeve in a patient. But all of that is going to be stored on the website, so you can go back and you can watch them at any time. If anybody is interested in working with me, have a look at this Bariatric Success Solution this week. I'm so excited about it, because I think it is going to revolutionise so many people's journey. I can't wait for it to start. I've already got 3 or 4 patients that are raring to go on it, and it's all going to be kicking off, and I'll be talking about it loads, because that's what I want to do. I want to help as many of you as possible. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a wonderful Wednesday evening, and I will be back next week with a different topic. Haven't decided what it is yet. I might actually tell you all about the success solution. So take care, lots of love, and enjoy your Wednesday evening. Bye.